22, Olivia Tesfaye. Number 30, Ileana James. And number 33, Zara Harry. Head coach, Kelly Lee. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Thank you, and good luck to both teams.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to Fort Lee basketball in HD. As today, Fort Lee plays host to the Huskies of Dumont High School in this Big North American Division showdown. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Long, and welcome to our new and improved broadcast quality here of Fort Lee Athletics here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Well, Fort Lee comes into this game 8-11 overall in the season, 3-1 in divisional play, and a chance to keep pace with Ridgefield Park if they're victorious here today against the Huskies. Dumont 1-15 on the season, 1-3 in divisional play. They would love to pull the upset on the road here and take down Fort Lee. These two sides met earlier this season back on January 6th. Fort Lee victorious 40-24 at Dumont. Dumont in their road white. They're coached by Christy Prepis. And Fort Lee in their home black, coached by Kelly Lane. Turnover nearly produced there by the defense of Fort Lee, as Dumont has that one tipped out of bounds last touch. Ball for the Bridgemen. Fort Lee coming in off a 45-16 win against Newark Vocational yesterday. As the Bridgemen in the playoff picture right now would be the number 9 seed. So if they can get a couple more points, they could potentially host the first round playoff game. Fort Lee had that swatted away after trying to go up with it was Giselle Lee, the sophomore. Lead to the breakout the other way for Dumont, and Dumont is rejected. So Fort Lee has their first shot offering swatted away. The same could be said of the Huskies. Across the middle of the lane, here's a kick out, long range three. Rattled in and out, no good. Offensive rebound by Zara Harry after the Ileana James miss. Olivia Tesfaye up top. Worked around into the hands of Eleanor Yu. Into the corner. Quick pass is intercepted inside by Scarlett Santana. And Santana will send it down the other way for Dumont. Still scoreless here in the first quarter from East Gymnasium on the campus of Fort Lee High School. Skip pass around the perimeter as Dumont works it around to the near side. Coombs getting it off into the side of Santana. Here's a long-range offering for three. Trickled around, no good. And rebounded underneath that time by Lee, the sophomore, who had 2 rebounds against Dumont in the first meeting. Tesfaye getting it back up top. Tesfaye just inside the three-point arc. That shot is left short, will go out of bounds, and will be possession upcoming here for Dumont. Their lone win of the season came against White Morrow, 51-22 back on January 15th. Skip pass again for Dumont. They set and fire and nearly bank it in. Offensive rebound, though, collected inside by Zamira McKinley. Neither team have scored a point through the first 2 minutes of play. Claire Coombs, who had 8 points in their last matchup against Waldwick. Swung over to the near side. Coombs once again playing a game of catch inside with her teammate. That time the layup left short on the left side by McKinley. But she fought back for the possession. Here's a shot from up top, and that three-point shot is knocked in by Angelica Fernandez. And those are the first points of the game. 3-0 lead here for Dumont. Fort Lee trying to track down the possession. They do. James across the middle, scoop shot, layup is good with the left hand, Ileana James. The senior averages just around 10 points per game for Fort Lee. Was able to get that one to go. They're on the board for the first time. They trail Dumont 3-2. Here's Fernandez trying to make it back-to-back triples, no good. Hustled on the play, but deflected last touch out of bounds off of Dumont. Possession will go back over to the Bridgemen. 4:37 left to go in a low-scoring first quarter of play. That pass was to no one, just thrown down the length of the floor and taken back by Dumont. Along it goes to Coombs to the near side. Swings the pass back to Fernandez. They play a game of catch. McKinley inside. Her pass deflected away into the waiting hands of Ileana James. Fort Lee trying to get going here offensively, where it's been a bit of a struggle as we're closing in on the halfway point of the first. Give and go. Here's a pull-up mid-range jumper inside the lane. No good. Rebounded underneath by Scarlett Santana. Santana collected 3 rebounds in the first meeting against Fort Lee. Worked around as Coombs gets it into the corner. Back to Fernandez. Trying to gamble that time was Lee. Did not come up with a turnover. Dumont, a little pick and roll action inside. McKinley bottled up, and that shot will not count as it's a traveling violation called before that bank shot could go in off the glass. 3:40 left to go here in the first. Again, Fort Lee trying to sweep away the Huskies here in the regular season and garner their 9th win overall in the year. And Fort Lee once again throws it out of bounds. That is the second turnover where they have thrown it where there is no one standing there in that area. And Coach Kelly Lane has asked for a timeout to talk things over with her side. 3:31 left to go here in the first. And it's still a very low-scoring game. 3-2 the lead for Dumont. As we'd like to thank our proud Athletic Booster Club sponsors for 2025-26, the Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, the Finest Construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and DeRue Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education Association. Coach Lane trying to settle her troops down a bit as they have had some unforced errors, to say the least. They've just not been playing their confident style of basketball. Good defensive work inside, loose ball tie-up, and the arrow will favor Fort Lee after Zara Harry, the freshman forward for Fort Lee, initially snatched it and then got tied up with Santana. Little full court pressure being displayed here by Dumont. Fort Lee breaks it. Harry comes down the other way for Fort Lee and is going to get called for the double dribble. That's going to lead to a turnover and possession going back over to the visitors. More turnovers than points so far in this game, as we only have 5 combined points, and on cue, there's a turnover for Dumont. Harry across the lane. Fort Lee, once again, they'll give it up that time after losing the handle was Tesfaye, and that's going to be a loose ball tie-up, possession arrow favoring Dumont. 3 minutes left to go in this first quarter. Strip pass inside. That shot and the follow-up by Santana was left short. Then the ensuing loose ball was thrown away and given back over here to Fort Lee. You getting it over. That pass left to no one again. I don't know why Fort Lee is in such a hurry here as the ball eventually goes down the other way and Dumont is able to lay it up and in. Nina Alazakis scoring her first 2 points. But Fort Lee is routinely going a little too fast and throwing it to areas that, again, have nobody there. It's not even like passes are deflecting off the fingertips of teammates. They're just throwing it completely away. 5-2 lead here for Dumont. Fernandez off to the corner to Santana. Santana will set and fire. High arcing three, halfway in and out. Rebound secured here by Fort Lee. As the Bridgemen being held to only 2 points so far in this first quarter. Quickly get a shot up, no good. James trying to tip it around, but that was good box out underneath by Dumont. 5-2 lead for the Huskies coming up on 90 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Fort Lee averages around 40 points a game. That's what they scored in the first meeting against Dumont. But they have been held completely stymied here so far in this first quarter to only 2 points. That loose ball tie-up will give the possession back over to the Bridgemen, with 1:28 left to go here in the first. You could not get around that last defender. It leads to the turnover. There's Dumont in the open floor, and laying it in is Claire Coombs. Defense, the name of the game for the Huskies. They've taken a 7-2 advantage here over Fort Lee, and yet another turnover forced. Dumont was not able to take full advantage there as they turned it over themselves. This is their largest lead of the game at 5, 7-2, with 59.6 seconds left to go in the quarter. Tesfaye in the open floor. Quick shot opportunity on the near side. That shot no good by Georgina Sciglitano, who had 10 points in the win yesterday against Newark Vocational. Fort Lee put up 45 points in yesterday's game. Again, held to only 2 so far as they drop into a zone look on D. Santana flips that over to Fernandez. Scoop shot, layup attempt, no good. 20 seconds left to go. Another offensive rebound for Dumont. Huskies trying to produce what would be their second win of the season. Nice feed inside and is finished by Scarlett Santana. Santana's first 2 points of the game. James trying to get around her. James passing it down low to her teammate. Gets the shot up in time, but it will be off the mark, and Dumont will take a 7-point lead into the start of the second quarter as they hold Fort Lee to all of 2 points in the first 8 minutes of play. Stick around as we'll be right back for the start of the second quarter as you're watching Fort Lee girls basketball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. A 9-2 advantage here for Dumont as we head to the start of the second quarter of play. Dumont taking on Fort Lee for the second time this season. Huskies trying to return the favor after Fort Lee went to Dumont and won just after the new year, 40-24 in the first meeting. Dumont coming off a 47-41 loss in the prelims of the BIT against Waldwick in their last game. Fort Lee won a game in the prelims of that round in the BIT before eventually losing to Leonia in the round of 16. Fort Lee trying to make a change here on defense, looking more like a zone, trying to bottle up any contain inside. Pass gets back up top. Riley Fletcher feeding Claire Coombs. Coombs taking her time as Dumont trying to survey the defense. Skip pass to Fernandez. Coombs again works it off to the near side. Dumont not really threatening right now. Being very patient, almost taking a minute of possession time off the clock here to start off the second. Fernandez feeding it into the corner. Here's Santana picking up the ball. Here's a shot offering now from the corner. Ball is left open up top, and the rebound secured by Coombs. Leads to a second opportunity in this possession. And again, a third opportunity as it went through the fingertips of a Fort Lee player and eventually led to a three-point knockdown by Claire Coombs. So that marathon of a possession cashed in eventually on the three-point shot. Fort Lee down by 10, 12-2. Feed up top, Ileana James contorts the body and lays it in. Sidestepped the defender right in front of her and then went high off the glass for the conversion. 12-4, first bucket in a long time here for Fort Lee as they trail by 8. Dumont has knocked in a pair of three-pointers here in the first half as Coombs setting it off to the near side. Trying to force feed that pass inside the zone. Somehow McKinley still held on to possession. Fletcher getting over to McKinley, now back up top to Coombs. Be interesting if Coach Lane will try to get out of the zone sometime soon and to extend the pressure, as Dumont is playing keep away and taking a lot of time off the clock. Head and shoulder fake executed by Santana. Try to pass it out to her teammate. It's deflected, last touch out of bounds. And they're going to say that it's last touch off of Fort Lee, as it looks like a timeout's going to be taken here by Dumont to try to discuss how to carve up this offense for Fort Lee. 12-4 lead here for Dumont. And again, we thank all of our proud sponsors here of this 2025-26 school year. .5:22 left to go here in the first half. 12-4 lead for Dumont. They've led by as many as 10 in this one. They've led 9-2 after the first 8 minutes of action. Fort Lee defending here. They've had some trouble defending in their zone by giving up offensive rebounds that have led to plentiful number of opportunities here on offense for Dumont. And Dumont, quite frankly, once Fort Lee has dropped into the zone, have been content with just running a minute off each time. Not as short in this game. Good ball movement, deflection out of bounds. Last touch off of Fort Lee with 4:54 left to go here in the second. Quick feed inside. Santana's shot was swatted away. But still, once again, the extra effort plays, the hustle plays here by Dumont to save possession. That time the pass is ricocheted off the side of the backboard out of bounds. Possession will go back over to Fort Lee as Dumont will administer full court pressure. That leads to an eventual Fort Lee turnover. Fort Lee trying to win possession right back. And possession will go back over to the Bridgemen. Fort Lee has just been unable to have any semblance of success on offense in this game. They've been throwing it away at a very high clip. They haven't even been able to produce shot opportunities, and once again, Dumont just easily steals it away. Fort Lee has been struggling to find any type of ball handling in this first half. Turnaround shot by Santana, no good. And that is eventually picked up by Yu. Fort Lee trying to get quickly down the floor. Get around that first line of defense, and there's going to be a foul whistled after Siglitano was fouled on her way up. So that will bring Georgina, the junior, to the foul line to shoot two. Siglitano knocks down the first foul shot, her first point of the game. Fort Lee has already surpassed their win total from a season ago when they had 6 wins on their campaign. Now they have 8 wins, and again are not that far away from potentially hosting a first-round state playoff game. But they have to win a game like this one to make sure that they could still be in line to host. Siglitano goes 1 of 2 at the line. 12-5 deficit facing Fort Lee. Fletcher thought about it. Great ball movement leads to the open look from 3, no good. Crashing the weak side rebound for loose ball, and it again is a tie-up inside. Dumont was trying to deflect it off the foot of a Fort Lee player, and Fort Lee once again just throws it away. They are not valuing the basketball at all in this half. They're just throwing it away like hot potato. Inside, Santana tried to take that extra step, but in doing so, gets called for the travel. 3:23 left to go in the second quarter. Dumont hounding on the full court pressure. Fort Lee was able to get it down the floor there with relative ease. James scoop pass underneath. Here's an open look from 3 to the near side. Tipped off the rim, no good. Santana corrals the rebound. Three minutes left to go in the half. Shot from the corner, no good for Dumont. They're not really doing a lot here to distance themselves from the Bridgemen in this first half. They scored 9 points in the first quarter, and Dumont has only produced 3 points in this entire second quarter of play. Yet they maintain that 7-point advantage they held after 1. To the near side, deflected away. James with a steal. Ileana James taking it herself coast to coast. Scoop left-hand layup attempt, swatted away out of bounds by Santana with 2:31 left to go in the second. Tesfaye gets the inbounds and gets it stolen away from her by Coombs. Fernandez skips it back up top to Coombs. Here's Fernandez to the near side wing. Again, Fort Lee in their zone look. It has slowed down Dumont in this quarter in terms of scoring, but they've also held possession for longer. This is where you see, again, no shot clock in New Jersey really be a problem if you're the defense. You're playing good defense, but you're not being rewarded for it. Santana's shot was left short inside. Fight for the loose ball on the hardwood. It's going to be a loose ball tie-up, and possession arrow is is going to favor Dumont. Corner three by Fernandez, left short. Eleanor Yu with the rebound. Each team has only produced 3 points in this entire quarter. Bank shot attempt by James is no good. But she steals possession right back. Fort Lee will get it back into the offensive end. James playing a game of catch, but in doing so, threw the pass off of her teammate's hands out of bounds. With the ricochet, possession goes back over to Dumont. 1:19 left to go in the second. This divisional game, a defensive-oriented affair here this afternoon. Only 17 combined points between the two teams as we're closing in on the final minute of the first half. Fort Lee 9th in North 2 Group 3 power points. Dumont not going to be a factor in the postseason this year, but this could be their biggest win of the season if they were able to hold on. Shot from the outside. Santana's shot off the mark. Tesfaye with a rebound. Under 50 seconds left to go. James picks up the dribble, looks for an outlet for a teammate. Trying to swing that pass up and over the defense, but it got deflected away, and Dumont forces the turnover. Closing in on 30 seconds left to go in the first half. Lacus getting it back to her teammate Santana. Swing pass was a little tall there, but Fernandez did a nice job of keeping it in play. 10 seconds left to go in the quarter. Fernandez challenge from the outside. She knocks in the three just before halftime, and that'll give Dumont a 10-point lead heading into the break. As Angelica Fernandez, her second, made 3 of the ball game, just beat the buzzer, and Dumont will lead 15-5 after 2 quarters of play. Stick around, fans, as we'll be back for the start of the second half as you're watching Fort Lee girls basketball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, inside East Gymnasium here at Fort Lee High School as Dumont takes a 10-point lead into the start of the third quarter. Here trying to split the season series against the Bridgmen after Fort Lee handed them a 40-24 win, or loss, I should say, at Dumont earlier this season. Dan Long, so glad they could join me here courtside on this new look and new and improved Fort Lee Athletics broadcast in HD. We thank Dimitri Nanis for his support of getting us evolved here in terms of our broadcast quality, and we hope that you are enjoying it wherever you may be. We'd like to thank all of our proud Athletic Booster Club sponsors of the 2025-26 school year: the Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, The Finest Construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and Daru Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education Association. Fort Lee scoring only 5 points, the season low in that first half of play. 4 of the 5 came courtesy of Ileana James. Georgina Siglatano had the other points on a foul shot. In the first half, Dumont knocked down 3 threes, were led by Angelica Fernandez's game-high 6 points. She had the three-pointer just to end the first half. That initial bounce pass there by Zara Harry, but she was fortunate to recapture possession. She had a bloody nose, and that's why she missed some time in that first half. Gauze in her nostril. She's back on the floor. Here's Ileana James for 3. No good. But at least a shot attempt up there for Coach Kelly Lane's side. Rebounded by Dumont as the Huskies go down the other way. We'll see if Fort Lee tries to extend their defense, and they do. It leads to the steal. Here's a 2-on-1 fast break the other way. The hoop and the harm, and one. Eleanor Yu caps off the steal with a 2-on-1 break, and now has a chance at a traditional three-point play. And that time, Dumont was lulled into a false sense of security when they were going against the zone, and then quickly coming out of the zone was Yu. And Eleanor knocks in the foul shot to complete the three-point play, and some signs of offensive life here for Fort Lee. 15-8 lead for Dumont. Skip pass into the corner for the Huskies, a dangerous one at that. They get it down low to Santana. Turnaround shot is no good. Good box out there by Eleanor Yu. Yu will dribble it past midcourt, get it into the front court, sidestepping a defender, trying to feed her teammate on the baseline. That is deflected out of bounds off of Dumont last. Possession here for Fort Lee with 6:55 left in the third. Yu will give it off. Here's a three-point look for Fort Lee off the back iron, no good. McKinley with a rebound underneath. Dumont will get it into the offensive end. Coombs will hand it off to the near side. Alexakis giving it back up top to Coombs. And Fort Lee trying to extend their defense a little further than they did in that second quarter, where Dumont just held for multiple possessions over a minute in duration. There's the deflection, and it leads to the turnover. Harry will get it over to James. James has to cross the timeline, gets around the defender, swings the pass into the far side. There's the three-point shot that falls for Fort Lee. Samantha Song will dial it up from deep. The first made 3 of the game for Fort Lee. And just like that, the Bridgmen are back to within 4, 15-11. After Fort Lee has gone on a 6-0 run to start off this third quarter, playing much more confidently on offense and getting back into this game. Fort Lee will next host Dwight Morrow in their next game on February 5th here at East Gymnasium, before they will travel to the number 1 team in the division in Ridgefield Park on February 10th. They'll travel to Cliffside Park on the 12th and finish off their regular season here at home against Ramsey. After the timeout taken by Dumont, the Huskies will hold possession with 5:54 left here in the third. Their 15-5 halftime lead has shrunk down to 4. Fort Lee will drop back on defense. They've forced a couple turnovers here to begin this third quarter. There's another turnover forced. Ileana James will take it up herself. Picks up the dribble, tries to get it past midcourt, and Fort Lee turns it over yet again. That was sloppy from the get-go, but a good anticipation there by Eleanor Yu. Steals the ball back for Fort Lee. James finding her teammate again. It's Song. Banks in the three. Samantha Song has scored 6 unanswered points here, and Fort Lee is back to within 1 at 15-14. A team that was starved for offense in the first 16 minutes has come out shooting here to begin this third quarter, as they have connected on 9 unanswered points and have started off the third quarter on a 9-0 run. A rare foul called here, as that was a bum foul against Giselle Lee, her first, team's first of the third quarter. McKinley off to the near side, back up top to the far side. Dumont sets and fires, looking for a three of their own. It's tipped last out of bounds off of Santana, and possession will go back over to Fort Lee. .448 left to go here in the third, and a chance potentially for Fort Lee to take the lead here if they produce on offense. That was nearly stolen away by Coombs. Coombs again getting her hand on the ball, and the ball is going to be a loose ball tie-up, and possession arrow will go over to Dumont. That time, Scarlett Santana was on the floor and just did not try to pass it away. She was content with just holding on to the ball, and that led to the tie-up. Possession arrow favoring the visitors. Santana across the middle of the lane. McKinley getting it back up top to Coombs. Tipped pass by Fernandez to the near side. Dumont going right to the rim, initiating the contact, and will head to the foul line for 2. Alexakis to the line for 2, as that one is left short on her first foul shot attempt, trying to get Dumont's first point of the second half. It had 3 points in the last matchup against Fort Lee, missing on a pair, as that hustle on the near side went out of bounds. Last touch off of Dumont, possession going back over to Fort Lee. As Song getting it into Yu. Yu weaving her way down the floor. No one stopping Yu. Left the shot short, though. Eleanor gets the ball back. Now trying to get it to her teammate in Lee. And that's going to be a tie-up, with this time the arrow favoring Fort Lee with 4:08 left to go here in the third. Inside to Ileana James. Rush the shot, no good. Comes out up top. Here's another shot, no good. James with a loose ball rebound for the Bridgemen. Bottled up in the corner. And that's going to be another jump ball, and this time possession will alternate and go to Dumont. 3:55 left to go here in the third. Fort Lee going on a 9-0 run to start off this quarter to pull to within 1 at 15-14. Fort Lee had 5 total points in the first half. High arcing three, nearly banked in. It caroms all the way back out up top to Dumont. Here's Coombs in the corner. Pulls it back out. Fort Lee again extending their defense a little bit further than they certainly did in the second quarter. Bobbled initially inside. A feed underneath, and Fletcher's shot is blocked away. Fort Lee's defense coming calling here in the third quarter. They're pitching a shutout right now against the Huskies. But that pass is thrown away, and Dumont will take it coast to coast the other way for the easy lay-in. Alexakis with her first points of the second half. She's got 4 in the game. And again, Dumont's full court pressure forcing a turnover. Huskies lead by 3 with under 3 left to go here in the third. into that far side corner. Fletcher getting it back up top. Round to the near side with a foot on the line, and that one is banked in. That time, Claire Coombs scores. She's got 7, leading scorer in this game for Dumont. And the Huskies have gone on a run, and now Fort Lee once again turns it over. So Fort Lee had all the momentum on its side. They scored the first 9 unanswered points of this third quarter, pulled to within 1, and even had a shot up against the glass, close to taking their lead. But Dumont has had the necessary response since then. 4 unanswered points for the Huskies, stretching their lead back to 5. Kenley to Fletcher. Fletcher shot doesn't go. Offensive rebound inside. Turnaround shot also off the mark. Fletcher with an offensive rebound. Dumont just wants it more right now. They're hustling their way to extra possessions. Inside, a layup attempt. Again, no good. And another offensive rebound. Nina Alaxis has been unstoppable here. Just out hustling Fort Lee left and right. Alexakis to the foul line. Swishes home that foul shot. She's 1 of 3 at the charity stripe in this game. 5 points for the junior. Second foul shot, no good. Harry with a rebound. And there's going to be a bump foul against Alexakis. That'll be her first personal foul. Team's first with 1:51 left here in the third. Lead has grown back to 6 at this point, 20-14 lead. Here for Dumont, looking for their second win of the season. Harry gets it past midcourt. Tesfaye off to the near side. Here's a set and fire 3-point shot, knocked in once again by Samantha Song. Song has caught fire here in the third. She's got all 9 of her points in this quarter. Dumont's lead down to 3. Fletcher on the far side wing. Up top to Coombs. Cross-court pass underneath. Alexakis attacked underneath, reverse layup attempt, and she draws the whistle as a foul on the block attempt that time for Fort Lee defensively. Alexakis will head back to the foul line. 1 of 4 in this game. Rolls that one in. She's really been the scoring threat in this quarter for Dumont. She's got 4 of her team's 6 points here in the frame. Knocks in a pair at the foul line. She's got 7. Tying her with her teammate Claire Coombs. 22-17 lead. Fort Lee breaks the pressure, gets blocked down on the other end of the floor, though. Good recovery defense. That time by Angelica Fernandez. As it looked like Fort Lee was destined for a layup attempt. Nice give and go inside, and a bank shot is finished off by Samantha Song. Song already with a season high 11 points in this one, all of which have come here in the third. 22-19 lead for Dumont. And Fort Lee string together a couple more defensive stops here. Fletcher just ricochets that one off of Ileana James, and it looks like a timeout was granted also to Coach Prepus with 41.7 seconds left to go in the third. And Fort Lee's deficit down to only 3. 41.7 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Possession on the inbound here for Dumont. Huskies led by double digits in this game. Fort Lee has really not held possession of a lead. Inside the lane, McKinley. Inside, cutting towards the rim, no good. Tipped out of bounds, last touch off of Fort Lee last. So possession will stay once again with Dumont. Alexakis has really become that aggressive force underneath on the baseline against this Fort Lee defense. Fletcher, foul line jumper, is good. Riley Fletcher was left open there, and she canned the 15-foot jump shot. 24-19. Shot starting to fall for both teams. Into the corner, here's another look from three, too long. That's rebounded by Dumont. And Dumont will dribble it out of bounds, but the time will also expire. 24-19 lead for the Huskies after three, as we're headed for the start of the fourth quarter of play from inside East Gymnasium, as Fort Lee try to find their way to a come-from-behind victory here in league action. Fort Lee outscored Dumont in that third quarter 14-9 to pull back in this game as they trail by 5 after trailing by 10 at halftime, 15-5. In that third quarter alone, Samantha Song caught fire for the Bridgemen, knocking down three-pointer after three-pointer. She connected on 3 triples and now has 11 points in this game. Dumont being led by the three-headed monster of Alexakis, Coombs, and Fernandez, who have combined for 20 of their team's 24 points. Fort Lee in their home black, Dumont defending in their road white. Fort Lee looking for what would be their 9th win of the season. Dumont looking for only their 2nd win of the year. Ileana James, top of the key, got around the first defender, trying to bank it in off the glass, no good. Coombs with a rebound. Coombs, dangerous pass, anticipated nicely that time by Lee. Lee gets it blocked away, though, by Fernandez. A couple times now, Fort Lee has been able to read it and anticipate, but they have not been able to convert in the open floor. James up top. James gets around the first defender, and then that time got her arm hit after she was going up for the shot. And that'll send the senior forward, who averages a double-double this season, to the foul line to shoot 2. First point of the second half for Ileana. 5 points in this game. Had 9 points, 9 rebounds in the first meeting against Dumont. Second foul shot also good. 6-point effort now for her as she's 2 for 2 at the foul line. 3-point game, 24-21. Kenley inside, trying to go against her defender, and she lays it in. Good angle play there. She just got the step on her defender and then used that hand to slither it home. And Fort Lee answers with a response of their own on the other end offensively, as Giselle Lee gets her first 2 points of the afternoon. Back to a 3-point margin, 26-23. Kenley, good ball movement. Here's Fletcher inside, and Fletcher scores. Quick, decisive offense here for Dumont, breaking through that defense of Fort Lee. James, step back 3, left short. James trying to chase after her own miss. scrambles on the floor, and a timeout is granted to Coach Kelly Lane to save the possession for Fort Lee with 6:23 left to go here in the fourth. Dumont in front by 5, 28-23. Like to once again thank all of our Athletic Booster Club sponsors of 2025-26 to allow us to bring you the sights and sounds of these games on YouTube. The Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, The Finest Construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and Daru Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education Association. 28-23. Fort Lee has been fighting uphill all game long. If you're just joining us, they scored only a total of 5 points in the first half, yet had a big comeback in the third quarter that got them back in the thick of it here. Here's a look from three and a banked three-point shot by Eleanor Yu. A couple banked-in threes have worked wonders here for Fort Lee in the second half. 28-26, the lead for Dumont. Santana to Fletcher. Fletcher from the wing, rattled in and out. Rebound taken in by Song. Outlets it over to Eleanor Yu. Yu fumbles it, trying to get it through the legs of the defender, but it went all the way to midcourt, and Dumont wins back possession. Fort Lee has just not been strong with the ball here today. A lot of turnovers. Santana is strong, inside and one. Scarlett Santana with her first made basket since the first quarter, and now a chance at a three-point play. The foul was charged against Zara Harry. For Harry, that is her second personal foul of the game. Santana's foul shot rattles in and out. 30-26 lead. Dumont trying to produce a win here on the road. Be their first win on the road this season. James across the lane, misfired. Offensive rebound, here's another look from three. Another bank-in attempt, this time too strong. Dumont down the floor the other way as they pull it back out. Leading by 4. Santana across the lane, too strong. Fletcher with the offensive rebound. Alexakis, a high-ranging three, no good. Tipped around again inside, and its last touch this time by Santana. But Fort Lee is really being victimized on the glass. They've just not been able to get to the loose balls. Dumont has been playing a great game in terms of their hustle. Ileana James into the corner, nearly turned it away. Saved by her teammate, right back to her. Here's a three. That shot too long. Alexakis saves it as she's falling down to the deck. Still, despite all of this, it's only a 4-point deficit for Fort Lee. Not playing one of their better games. 4.5 minutes left to go in regulation. Santana at the foul line. Now pushed out behind the three-point arc. Myra McKinley getting it over to Fletcher. Fletcher loops that pass up into the hands of Claire Coombs. Again, Dumont in no rush right now. They're fine with just playing keep away and taking time off the clock. Santana across the lane, and that's going to be a whistle and a foul called on the pass. That foul will go against James of Fort Lee, her second personal foul. Team's second here of the fourth quarter. Past the midway point of the fourth quarter, 3:57 left to go. Santana initially had the ball tied up a little bit, trying to get it down low to McKinley. McKinley getting it to Santana. Worked around the perimeter. Fort Lee starting to have time become a factor in this one. They can't just sit back in their zone here. They got to force some turnovers. Dumont again just passing it around. Not even attempting a shot right now. Here's Santana inside the lane. got a step on her defender, left the shot short. Santana once again unable to save it as it goes out of bounds. As it looks like it's going to be a timeout taken on the floor with 3:19 left to go in the fourth quarter. Dumont on top of Fort Lee, 30-26. (30-26) lead for Dumont. 3:19 left to go here in regulation. Dumont led 9-2 after one and 15-5 after the second quarter. But then Fort Lee outscored them 14-9 in the third. They pulled to within 5 to start off this quarter, and now they're to within 4. And Fort Lee find an answer here with a full court pressure. Santana try to keep it in bounds. She knocks it out of play. Fort Lee has more turnovers than points, I would gather, in this game. Drive and dish inside. Ileana James misfired. Tried to chase after it, but could not corral it. And now a reach-in foul against Fort Lee, against Samantha Song. That'll be for Song, her first foul, team's third. Only one more foul to give for the Bridgemen here in this fourth quarter before it's foul shots the rest of the way, and there is the last foul to give. So Eleanor Yu picks up the foul. For Yu, that is her first, team's fourth. So foul shots the rest of the way here on any subsequent foul against Fort Lee. Fletcher dribbling it off to Fernandez. Dumont running a weave. Coombs with the off-ball cut inside. The beneficiary of a beautiful pass. She's got 9. Tipped around and deflected right in front of us. 2:35 left to go in regulation with the lead now back up to 6 here for Dumont. Dumont has had an answer to this zone defense here in the second half. They've made their necessary adjustments. Wonder if Coach Lane's going to change things up defensively. Not a lot of possessions remain in this game. Fort Lee turns it over right in front of their own teammate. Again, the ball is loose on the floor. The officials not whistling a stoppage of play as they just continue on. McKinley was kind of slithering on the floor. It looked like it was definitely going to be destined for a travel as Fletcher just deflects it off of her opponent's leg. 2:06 left to go. Deflected out of bounds once again off of Fort Lee last. 2:05 left to go in regulation. Fort Lee 3-1 in league play. Their only loss came against Ridgefield Park. 57-39 here at home. They're in danger of dropping a second league game. Nice give and go, and the backdoor feed and the finish inside by Zamira McKinley. As McKinley with a chance at a three-point play. That time it burned Fort Lee with being too over-aggressive. And McKinley will be able to finish that one off and now trying to get the three-point play to give her 5 points in the game. Misfired on the foul shot. And last touch out of bounds off of Santana. Lead is back to 8 here for Dumont. Time running short here for Fort Lee with 1:56 left to go. Lee's pass intercepted. McKinley forcing another turnover for Dumont, but then they turn it right back over. Making matters worse for Fort Lee, they're also in the bonus if no more fouls to give, so every foul will send Dumont to the line. That can come into play when you're trying to be aggressive on defense. James trying to drive in, but got blocked away by Santana. 90 seconds left to go in game. Again, Dumont had only one win on the season coming into this one. That was a win against Dwight Morrow. Santana trying to get a step on her defender. That was a 51-22 win for the Huskies. Intercepted by James. Ileana James, can she go coast to coast? Try to feed it down low for her teammate, but in doing so, threw it away. And Kelly Lane, hands on the head. That's all she could do in this one. It has been a very frustrating game for her to watch with her team, as they have been out of sorts. The only time that they really made a run was back in the third quarter. They got to within 15-14 and had a possession on offense where they could even possibly take the lead, but just have never had that answer here today. And the hustle plays have been much more numerous for Dumont. As Fletcher sinks the foul shot, she's got 5 points in this game off the bench. Freshman has been a nice spark here for the Huskies today, 2 for 2 at the line. Back to a 10-point margin. 1 minute left to go here in the game. And a steal produced by Dumont, and that is apropos, as it's been the defense for Dumont, the story in this game. Countless number of turnovers for Fort Lee have just never given them a chance to hold possession on offense. James will draw the foul, will stop the clock, and will head to the foul line. But Fort Lee has 26 points, and again, like I said, I feel pretty confident that they have over 26 turnovers in this game. Just been a off performance here today for Coach Lane's Bridgman. As James will rattle in that foul shot to give her 7 points in the game. Fort Lee in position to make the state playoffs, but this will hurt their chances of garnering a top 8 seed in North 2 Group 3. Coombs inside, took the shot, misfired. Got tangled up with a couple players behind the play. James will pass it over to the far side, and that leads to another Fort Lee turnover. Here's Coombs the other way. She'll pull it back out. No need for more points for Dumont, as the Huskies will come here to East Gymnasium and snap a 3-game losing streak against Fort Lee in this rivalry, as they will win for the second time this season. 38-27 will be your final score, as Dumont will pick up the win, their second win in league play as well, as Fort Lee will fall to 8-12 on the season with that defeat. So that'll do it for our broadcast coverage here from East Gymnasium. For Dimitri Nanis and company, I'm Dan Long saying so long, and thanks for watching in the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel.